So Salvatore is an associate professor at the University of Sydney. He has research interest in globalization, development.
And a keen interest in India.
Keen interest in India. So how are you reading the Modi budget in his third term, Salvatore? You're sitting in Australia.
The budget as respond to the economic survey data. The budget speech, of course, is in Hindi, and with apologies, I don't speak Hindi. But the economic survey data is extraordinarily positive. Even the things that you might think don't look positive maybe are. So, for example, inflation is down, but food prices are up. Well, if you view that from the standpoint of helping farmers, then food prices being up is actually a net positive for India as long as those higher prices trickle through to the farm door. Because what India needs, most of all, is higher farm incomes. The big priority for India right now is to manage that shift from farm to city. India still has 45% of labor force engaged in agriculture, and that's got to come down to something like 3 or 4% of the population engaged in agriculture over the next 12 to 15 years. Managing that shift is going to be the biggest challenge India faces in the next couple decades.
Yeah. Abhishek.
All right, let me take this to Ratun. Ratun, you said that this is going to build a lot of confidence among the international community, business community, when it comes to India's credit rating and overall credit worthiness, business environment. Specific to angel investing, specific to startups, you think this is going to really change the scene on the ground? There's going to be a rush of venture capital into the startup ecosystem, particularly in the backdrop of the fact that over the last 1 year, we have seen some drying up of funds coming in the startup ecosystem?
Well, a couple of things. Firstly, I think certainly the fiscal deficit helps, as I've very clearly stated, and those are the headlines one is seeing in international media, number one. But most importantly, it is a continuity of policy, that I think will give a lot of credibility. Even I was in New York when the election results were, when the election results happened, and initially, for the first couple of hours, I think there was a lot of concern that, whether things, whether policy would continue, whether there would be continuity in policy. But that very quickly dissipated, in terms of that. And I think if I were correct, the international community has been sitting waiting to see what this new budget of a more coalition government is going to be, in terms of whether it would be a more populist budget to kind of, pander to, the other factors also, in the political landscape today. But this clearly has been a very bold, a very good, as I very clearly said, budget with a view to the future. And for me, the headline has been the abolition of the angel tax. I think that is a very, very good thing, number one. Number two, for me, another great thing is the ELI, Employment Linked Initiative, that the finance minister has announced. The PLI, the Productivity Linked Initiative, which added, according to the International Monetary Fund, added about 13% value to GDP in 2022. It has been celebrated as a very good step. I think the ELI, if executed properly, will be a great thing going forward. And the very first thing, if I've got my my facts correct, the internship in the 500 top companies that has been announced, and the internship allowance, the one time, and all this linked to CSR. I think this is a very bold and innovative and a very thoughtful step, towards employment. Because for us to reach the level of growth that we require, I think this is employment generation and creation is one of the key things, and startups can play a very important role in that, and the abolition of angel tax, etc., is fabulous.